now we can continue on the topic, and I have the pleasure to welcome Professor Cherylle Ramos, which is the director of the Educational Technology Center of the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. So good afternoon, Professor Ramos.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Let me just share my screen with you.
So before you, during you are sharing your screen, just a few words on your profile. You have been during over 2 decades. You have 2 decades of experience in the field of instructional technology in various capacity and appointments. You have been certified e-learning specialist through a scholarship grant from the federal government of Germany in Global Campus 21 E-Academy, and a digital leader and innovative teaching alumni in the Distinguished Australian Fellowship Award in 2015 from the Queensland University of Technology. You are actually appointed as the director, as I said, of the Educational Technology Center of the University of Santo Tomas, and you are supervising the UCT Cloud Campus project, where you are specialized in massive wide e-learning management for the oldest university in Asia, with an average online deployment of 46,000 students and 2,600 academic staff per academic term. As an e-learning leader, you are ensuring the professional development of teaching workforce in the appropriate use of technology across the vast spectrum of online remote delivery modes. In the past, you worked with UNESCO ICT for Education in Bangkok, and among Philippine Teacher Educational Institution as a resource and distribution training center, coordinator in the promotion of use of open and free educational resources. You also serve as president and member of the board of trustees of the Philippine E-Learning Society, spearheading an example of League of E-Learning professors, professionals in the advancement of online technologies in the Philippines. And at the moment, you are appointed as a member of the board of directors of the E-Learning Forum Asia to advance the application of information technology and teaching and learning, with special emphasis on the opportunity and challenges faced by institutions in the Asian region. So we are very pleased, Dr. Ramos, to invite you today in order to know more about this EdTech Center in the University of Santo Tomas. So the floor is yours.
Good morning once again to all our participants, and good afternoon, of course, here in the Philippines. It's raining very hard here at the northern part of the Philippines. I hope that I won't be disconnected while I'm doing the presentation. So just like what Nicolas mentioned, I'll be sharing with you our experience at the University of Santo Tomas. And this time we highlight a case study on how do we manage our e-learning adoption in massive scale. So let me first talk about the university. We are, of course, as I've mentioned, situated in the island country in Southeast Asia, in the western part of the Pacific. So the university is located at the heart of Manila, and we also have several campuses. One is in Santa Rosa campus, that is our research facility for the university, and also we have the upcoming university as well, or campus in the south of the Philippines, that is in General Santos campus. Now, the focus of our case study will be in the Manila campus, which is said to be the oldest university in Asia. So it's located here in Manila, and it's considered to be a private institution administered by the Dominican Orders of Preachers. So aside from that, as I've mentioned, based on existing records, We are considered the oldest existing university in Asia with all of those degrees that you are seeing on the screen. So that is the wide spectrum of the courses that we currently offer in the Manila campus. So likewise, the National Historical Landmark, the National Historical Commission of the Philippines also declared the university as a national historical landmark. And also, 4 of its historical structures have been declared as a national cultural treasure of the Philippines. And this is the first time that an educational institution joins the roster of national cultural treasures, being that most of the structures are churches and the rest are landmarks and movable objects. Now, pertaining to the university, throughout the years, UST has been recognized with a number of distinctions, which is testimony of its academic excellence it provides to the students. Beyond having this prestige of being a national cultural treasure, UST is known as the top universities in the country and also holds the distinction of being the first and only university that was given the rating of 5 stars by QS rankings. Now, let me first share the context of this case study, which I will subdivide into 3 parts: the pre-pandemic, the pandemic, and of course, as we move towards the post-pandemic era. So even prior to the pandemic, the university already holds the distinction of being the pioneer and leader in massive wide e-learning adoption in the Philippines. So as I've mentioned, we'll start first with this context, the pre-pandemic. And just like any other universities in the world and in the country, we of course have to overcome challenges in the e-learning adoption. Now, as an institution, we are truly aware of the profound changes going on around the world. So we understand that in order for us to thrive in this fast-paced and technology-driven era, we need to equip our students as well as our teachers with the knowledge and skills in order for them to be prepared for the future of work, and as well as our teachers excel in this evolving world. So in this endeavor, we find guidance with esteemed organizations like ISTE and the UNESCO ICT Bangkok, knowing that it is our responsibility to ensure that our faculty members are, of course, equipped with the necessary skills, as well as in doing so, we also enable our students. So we have that in mind in terms of our visioning for the advancement of the university. And it is for this reason that the university, as early as 1994, established a dedicated instructional technology unit amidst the technology evolution. So we had that in 1994, and our e-learning started in 2002. The initiative at the time was known as the E-Learning Access Program. And of course, we transitioned later on to our UST Cloud Campus, our new branding, starting in 2018. Now, if we break this down further, we can see that there's really the evolution of technology along the way, from our print media to our digital technologies. And over the years, we have adopted several tools that would allow our students, including different platforms, to allow us to be able to adapt to the changes in the technological landscape. As you can see right now, we are in a transition to move from our old LMS to our new learning management system. So aside from that, the establishment of a dedicated instructional technology unit would entail that it should be aligned to the directional areas of the university. Our work as a dedicated unit is in alignment with what the university wanted in terms of its teaching and learning strategic area, which is to be a world-class institution of higher learning. And we work under the Office of the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs. Knowing also that we will acquire technology resources and investment in infrastructure, we also work under the Office of Information and Communications Technology under the resource management strategic areas. So given that we know where we are and also the strategic goals that we support, then we are very much clear with what we want to achieve for the university. So in terms of the target beneficiaries and the scope of e-learning adoption, as Nicolas mentioned, this is what usually we handle in a regular basis. We have 46,000 students, around 3,000 academic and non-academic staff. With this, the university also holds the distinction of being the largest Catholic university in the world in a single campus. Pre-pandemic, we have this major challenge because what we want in our e-learning adoption is said to be massive-wide. It has to be institution-wide. We have to speak one language all throughout. So the major problem would be that is to ensure buy-in and sustainability. So as we embrace the digital era and witness the rapid growth of the online education, we want to make sure that our e-learning initiative is viable all throughout its implementation. And so by gaining support of our stakeholders, it will be easier for us to move forward in establishing what we call the sustainable and impactful e-learning environment. So as I mentioned just a while ago, we have also transitioned our branding when it comes to our e-learning projects. So from eLive, we now call it the USD Cloud Campus. And before the pandemic, so this is our online course delivery methods. So as you can see from the slide, that majority of all our courses are delivered on site, but we have web enhancement. Our general courses are in hybrid mode, while some of our courses are in online environment. So even if the delivery methods are like this, there's already a structure already in place. So our e-learning culture, and of course, for us to have the buy-in from stakeholders, then it should involve the faculty members, administrators, and be able to provide all that they need from infrastructure, from educational technologies, or support systems, as well as making sure that quality assurance is there to be able to know if we're doing things right. So we start here with the robust infrastructure. So there's internet connectivity, robust learning management system, and adequate hardware and software resources are there to ensure that solid foundation. As you can see from the slide, we are able to see as well the transition of our on-premise infrastructure to moving on to cloud. So as early as 2015, we are already in cloud environment when it comes to our e-learning infrastructure. So aside from the infrastructure, we also complement it with constructively aligned instructional technologies. So without these third-party applications, it's quite impossible to enrich the learning experiences and expand the learning opportunities being supported by the learning environment. So there should be a combination of your e-learning environment plus the powerful e-learning tools, so that you will have a seamless learning experience for all of your students. So pre-pandemic as well, there is that institutional-wide e-learning implementation, and this would involve student and faculty orientations in different colleges, almost 20 plus colleges. And we have appointed e-learning specialists in different colleges. So here we are seeing that our e-learning specialists conduct student consultations. And because we are moving towards expanding it even more, we focus only on 2 services so that we are focused in terms of just providing e-learning services and instructional media production. There was a time in our history wherein the digital broadcasting was part of the EdTech Center, but this time we, based on strategic goals of the university, the EdTech Center only focuses on 2 aspects. that is on e-learning services and instructional media production. So over the years, we have conducted several activities to be able to establish the buy-in and sustain the implementation. So at the same time, we also complement a comprehensive support structure together with the infrastructure as well as the resources. So as I mentioned, there are e-learning specialists that would provide contextual support in different colleges. And then we also have e-learning tech support and instructional media specialists. So with that, we have an established ticketing system for all the concerns of the stakeholders. So in terms of providing support to our faculty members, we have a standard professional training development programs, which is now followed by mentoring and coaching sessions. With that as well, that we have a standard training curriculum. We also have a dedicated center where they will go and be trained as a teacher. So these are some of the events that happened pre-pandemic, where we had group training for the use of learning management system and integrating appropriate technologies into the instruction in face-to-face to hybrid mode of instruction. So we have group training, technology-based workshops, and after that, it's going to be supported and handhold the teachers through one-on-one coaching, group mentoring sessions. And with that as well, there should be quality assurance measure that is embedded in the e-learning adoption. So we collect data at the back end, and this is essential to regularly assess and evaluate the effectiveness of our e-learning programs. There are rubrics and checklists that are embedded in the performance evaluation of the faculty members, and we also have course and evaluation on course satisfaction that are also embedded in the courses. We use this data for the e-learning specialists to provide more support, as well as for the colleges. We use this so that we can redesign the courses so that we can improve that for the next delivery in the semester. As you can see from here, the EdTech Center, being the support unit, has an organized e-learning support services, wherein we implemented institutional-wide e-learning implementation. We have a dedicated center to prepare our teachers for online instruction. And we also have a centralized approach in providing the services so that we speak the same language. And with that as well, there is a standard training curriculum for active learning that are said to be contextualized, pedagogically driven, and technology rich. At the end of just a few months before pandemic, we have expanded our help to other institutions by doing collaboration and partnership. So in 2018, we have established the system-wide e-learning adoption to the different campuses based on our strategic plan. And then in 2020, we have established a network-wide e-learning adoption to other Catholic universities within the Dominican province of the Philippines network. And we share this even and continue on during the pandemic. So with that, we create a sustainable ecosystem, the one that can be replicated to the different institutions to support the growth and evolution of e-learning in their specific institutions. Now we move on to the pandemic context. Let's look at how the university has responded at this point in history. So then came the pandemic. In the Philippines, there was the partial to total closure of schools and universities. In the Philippines, there was also the implementations of distance modular learning. And some of the challenges in a national scope include limited training, lack of resources, low internet bandwidth, and distractions brought by the fear of uncertainties. In the university that already has an experience prior to pandemic, we still have challenges along the way. But with that, we have to position ourselves as still a premier university, able to take on the challenges. So in fact, at the start of the pandemic, we harness, of course, to help in the country So despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, our university has continued to be at the forefront of research and innovation. So those are the projects that we have started and share in the country. So we have leveraged our expertise and resource to contribute to the country's fight against the pandemic. But of course, we have to make sure that we also respond in other strategic areas of the university. So we have the research, the one that I've mentioned, the community development, but we would want to highlight what did we do in the instructional strategic area, and that is on the implementation of a new framework, which we call the enhanced or the enriched virtual mode of instruction, which I'm going to highlight at this point. So the emergency shift to online instruction also has brought challenges to the university, even if we had the experience in the past. We have health quarantine regulations and other pandemic-related concerns that cannot be disregarded in determining a suitable and conducive teaching and learning environment. Now, on the slide, as you can see, we have shifted our delivery modes, in delivery mode of instruction, as you can see from here. So from face-to-face and blended. So we have moved our courses to the other end of the spectrum, and that is almost 100%. But we know that while some classes can seamlessly move online, we still have identified courses like skills-based courses that must be that can only achieve its learning outcome if it's going to be in hybrid mode. So these would necessitate hands-on exercises, laboratory work, and direct interaction with instructors and peers. And so we need to make sure that we are still able to deliver them in hybrid mode during the pandemic. So the response of the university as an institution is right away, the next day, is to release the institutional continuity plan. So this is the anticipation to the possibility of a complete lockdown. With that, we highlighted that the UST Cloud Campus will be maximized to its fullest use throughout the pandemic. We also adapted this framework, the enriched virtual mode of instruction. Though massive wide e-learning adoption has already been in place since 2002. So this mode of instruction as an e-learning mode of delivery framework has 3 areas that must be intensified and making sure that we are making a quick shift to fully online instruction. And this has allowed us to sustain our teaching and learning all throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. So we'll just subdivide this into 3 areas. So first, one of the challenges that we encountered is that definitely there would be modifications in terms of the instructional plans, all because our instruction were made in face-to-face as well as with web enhancement, but still predominantly face-to-face. So there's a need for us a quick redesign of our instructional plans. And with this, the goal is to do a constructive alignment of learning design, starting off with the different proficiencies that we have with our faculty members. And so the university strengthened the capacity of 2 of its support units. We have the EdTech Center, that's where I belong. We have our e-learning specialists who are good in 3 areas: content, pedagogy, and technology. But we also acknowledge that there are strategies that that we cannot cover as e-learning specialists. So there is a new center, although it existed prior to pandemic. So that's the Center for Innovative Teaching and Educational Delivery. It has pedagogical leads whose focus is on the signature pedagogy of the different subunits. So with that, we did a hand-holding of our faculty members, making sure that we apply teacher-centric to student-centric strategies that are applicable to the courses that they teach. And with the helping hands of these 2 groups of people, teachers were guided on prioritizing the most important intended learning outcomes, and also to make sure that students will not be burdened by a lot of assessments. So there were integrated assessments that were formulated to promote deeper learning through various learning outcomes in a single task. We also allow teachers to be flexible in terms of teaching and learning strategies, knowing that we have problems with internet connection, which is something we cannot control, especially in the countries such as the Philippines. In the EVM, we also employed 4 strategies that all courses must be able to integrate in their learning plan. So this is to avoid learning loss during the pandemic. So first is that remote encounters with community must continue. That is accessible to both the community and the students, and to contribute to the development of outcomes in servant leadership. So we did webinars and integrated community development efforts, even if it's in virtual mode. Second strategy is that online courses must have foreign partner institutions. There should be collaborative learning with foreign partners through lectures with foreign faculty, and joint activities must continue towards the development of our outcomes for being effective communicators and collaborators among our students. And the third, we maximize team teaching strategies to allow students to take advantage of the expertise of more than one faculty member in contributing to the outcomes of being analytical and creative thinkers. And the last is that there should be integration or interaction with industry partners and alumni to complement professional competency development toward the achievement of the learning outcomes. So all of these 4 strategies are aligned in the learning plan that they developed, and it is consistent in all colleges, regardless of the program. So we also know that skills-based training must also be, skills-based courses must also be taken with importance. And so that's why we also provided support, different types of support to the courses like those in the health allied sciences. And with that, we help them to do skill mapping and rotational plan in terms of their hybrid learning design, similar to the one that we are seeing here in the physical therapy courses. Another challenge that we had during pandemic is that students and faculty members are at different levels of technological capacity, internet connectivity, and readiness in engaging in fully online instruction. Because before they are used to doing web enhancement in on-site or face-to-face instruction. So the answer to this would be from this part of our framework, and that is in intensifying support services, both in the pedagogy and technology. We have recalibrated all our services, from our health services to our guidance and counseling to our library, as well as the creation of virtual offices. We have provided intensive faculty development programs that are critical in terms of their online mode delivery of instruction. So we also have provided those that will later on allow them to do a quick shift with the use of the learning management system, especially those that are new faculty members, for example, or those we encountered to be resistant in the past. And so we have this types of courses that are said to be in packet modes that we run in an hourly basis. So that we continue to support the faculty members all throughout the pandemic. So for our students, we also provided them with pocket Wi-Fi and delivered to their homes during the pandemic. Our e-learning support unit also did not also focused on enhancing themselves during the pandemic, and this time we make sure that they are all certified in their field while they're doing their sport. We also this time subdivide the work further and have them specialize in different committee assignments. So some of our e-learning specialists are focusing on quality assurance, content development, research and innovation, reviewing emerging technologies, and of course, intensifying different support services for different stakeholders. And the last, of course, here has something to do with the robust digital ecosystem. So this time we have moved to a new building wherein the university was gracious enough to be able to provide us 2 floors only for development of online skills of our faculty members. So we have a dedicated instructional media production, which we have started pre-pandemic, but we making sure that this is well operational now during the pandemic. As well as in the pandemic, we have merged some of the ICT related services into one umbrella services. We call this a Tiger Tech, wherein we make sure that we have a a seamless digital life for our students, our faculty members. So from being a student down to being an alumni with online classes as one of its services. Also, we have embedded a lot of instructional technologies, making sure that it's constructively aligned to the courses that they have developed during the pandemic. And also here, we also make sure that even if we have adopted some of these tools, we need to make sure that it is able to maximize its use in different purposes. So from monitoring on-the-job training to inviting expert to class, online consultation, more than just using the same tool in a virtual class. And lastly, similar to what we did in the pandemic, we intensified and utilized visual analytics for data-driven decision making. So the purpose of this during the pandemic was to assist our academic units in monitoring the faculty and student engagement. Some of these were used in attendance checking. The data also were used to handhold the teachers in more capacity building and provision of additional support when needed. So we delivered the data into a visual analytics tool called Tableau. And we look at this and check whether the outcomes are being met and teachers are really doing their work as expected of them. So we use this for monitoring as well as the usage of the different tools that we have in the digital ecosystem, from assessments to course management to content. And this is now being shared to the different e-learning specialists who provide support to each of the colleges. So here we are seeing the different data across colleges and faculty members. So we're seeing whether they are really coming to class or not. There are scorecards that are embedded in the visual analytics, and we use this for data-driven decision as to how we will continue supporting our students as well as our faculty members. So even here, we are seeing on the side of the students doing active participation in their courses. So this is accessible to the level of the deans, the e-learning specialists, the program chairs. And because we have access to this data, we are able to revisit, rethink, and redesign the courses that we teach. And we highlight this in university training, which we do twice in a school year. And then we do pocket trainings all throughout the year to be able to address specific concerns of faculty members. And so post-pandemic, we prioritize and expand classes or skills-based courses to crucial to maximize learning outcomes. Here we provide basis for having a class be retained in enriched virtual mode of instruction, or to move them all to face-to-face. But because we have a dedicated faculty support, we are confident that we are able to move them back to face-to-face classes, and still with the provision of online learning support. And because we want really to proctor exams, especially high stakes exams, it's also important that the university would not only have support, but also would have the resources to be able to combat, let's say, problems with plagiarism, or let's say problems with the use of artificial intelligence. So outside of the circle of the university, we managed to fulfill its mandate to promote e-learning awareness in the country. So we have been invited several times, many times, in various conferences all throughout the Philippines. We've also conducted seminars, lectures all throughout as well, in different conventions and chapter webinars. We've also hosted national e-learning events, such as this one, which is a national e-learning conference in 2021, wherein we are institutional host. We've also redesigned for them immersive conference experience during the conference. And in 2022, we also hosted an international e-learning event in the country, and hosted later on several other emerging topics in e-learning, as well as in artificial intelligence. Post-pandemic approach. Well, the university, of course, rather than simply following trends, we as well is at the forefront of digital revolution. So as you can see, we will transition from our traditional courses to innovative programs. Our singular delivery mode will now become multi-model. Our structured one-size-fits-all pathway will offer flexible, stackable, inclusive pathways. And our physical learning spaces will now be converted into learning spaces. So in conclusion, our university's post-pandemic steadfastness lies in embracing the digital revolution. We will continue to be of timeless educational, combined timeless educational values to ensure future-proofing education for our students. So the university's brand of Catholic education, still, we will make sure that we embrace the digital revolution. By doing so, we aim at future-proofing our institution, ensuring a timeless, timely, and trailblazing education for our students. And this brand of education is something what we would want to bring them into the world outside of our campus in Manila. Education with fitness of purpose and quality that is fit for purpose. Thank you very much for your attentive listening.